Here's a quick rundown of the model box. So if you open it up, you have the inspiration images for both the model box and design of the big box. And on the other side, you have the different themes for the different client types. On the inside, it's a little bit like packing a trunk for your holiday. So I'm just going to run through how everything fits inside so you can replicate it, because it's a bit tight. So at the very back are the two base pieces, and they're on their sides. Then you have the full technical drawing, and then on the fold out piece you have the folded up technical drawing specs and the bottom pieces here. So you just fit that in, and it's just as wide as the actual box, so you're not actually going to fit it in flush. And I'm just pulling up the back technical drawing a little bit so that it all fits inside. And you have to push down the top a little bit because it's quite tight. And there you go, fits inside. These two side pieces close. And there you go, model box. One of my questions going into this project was, how do I show visually my thought process in design? As I see it, it's often a series of overlapping images that eventually coalesce into an initial idea. In order to show the subcategories of design elements, as well as the overarching collection of images that have informed the final design, I decided to print on acetate and layer the pages to create a visual representation of my mental process through the design phase. The reason for the model box representing the physical structure of this box at full scale, filled with a myriad of images overlapping one another, really helps with the visualization of knowledge. As Leif Edvinson states, quote, "The visualization of knowledge is crucial because if people see it, they have a conversation about it and might also be tempted to act. They decide to become part of the wave, internalizing it, using it for themselves," end quote. I was initially inspired by images like this, which are collections of trade tools. Some of them actually are toolboxes, in some cases an old salesman kit like the image at the bottom of the page for above-ground pools. The sales pitch relies heavily on the idea of selling an idea of leisure and prestige. As I am designing life events, like engagement parties, weddings, or birthdays, this field benefits from the idea of conspicuous consumption and having class taste. This idea has come from the upper-class notion of unproductive consumption, where luxuries and vicarious leisure lead to a higher public opinion and projects the societal benchmarks for respectability. This is also seen in the economic strength of things like vacations or leisure holidays, and how this expensive cost relates to a show of wealth and disposable income. As immersive design is on the rise as a trend, this outward show of taste in choosing my alternative bespoke events follows the larger trend for consumption of the avant-garde. As to the type of client I want to attract, I am interested in people who are open to the new ideas and are distinctive. This is defined by having a variety of ideas, where there is a breadth of interest that show a certain type of openness to try new things, even if that may be eating a jelly bean or smelling a bottle. And as well as asking expected questions of things like, what sort of events do you like? And what is a strong theme that comes to mind? I also want to find out more about the person's taste, and that can sometimes be hard to verbalize. To this end, it is helpful to see what smell or taste they're attracted to in the box and why. This overt way of getting to information can be helped with questions like, what scent reminds you of your childhood? Or, what's your most memorable date? I looked at different ways to show the visualization process, and here are some images that show boxes you can fill with items, pockets that you can fill with individual ideas, and finally at the bottom a more theatrical model box. Upon opening the model box, on the left-hand side you'll see the 5 different categories of clients, and on the right-hand side you'll see a more visual representation of the design process, while in the center you open it up to see the technical drawings. Now, if anything that is printed out or online that we find in the interview that strikes someone's fancy, we'd also make sure to send them as part of their official mood board after our talk. Now, looking at some reference photos for broad categories of clients, you see something like this as maybe inspiration or mood board. So this is a more tropical setting. Different ways to encourage interactive design, different locations. Maybe another one is more modern and clean, which on the face of it can be a bit hard to visualize. So we'd have some quick images to get a general sense of what the client might want. Here's something maybe a bit outdoorsy. And in themselves, these are a broader range of different styles. So within this collection of images, maybe one would pop out. That would inform where we would later move on with the design. Here's a more dark, moody, gothic, romantic style. Looking at maybe color scheme, maybe it's something particular that pops out, maybe they like the design of the cake, or maybe the candles, or maybe they say, I really like Victorian Gothic style. So if we can get something particular, it would be a good jumping off point for later talks. So here I am setting up the technical drawing. You have a back piece and a front piece. You can slip the full technical drawing into the back piece here. Then you have these 2 front pieces that have the Velcro on the top, which you can slip here. And then you have these 2 pieces that have the other side of the Velcro. So I'm just going to slip one here. And then here is the expanding technical drawing. So I'm just going to lay that on the top here. And while I'm holding it, I'm just going to slip the other side on. And there you have it. Now, since this is fully Velcroed, you can expand it or make it smaller. And each piece can come off and you can see a different layer of the technical drawing. So you have the different doors and then the back compartment. Now, in order to take it off, you do have to take off one of the side pieces again, just so you can get it out